I did post a video earlier about me unboxing my presents for the family, so that one wasn't properly listed. Um, anyway, because, you know, it's a family thing. Now, one of the gifts I got was the Overland Limited train set. This was at the top of my list, because my mother's told me, oh, just make me a list. I said, okay, there's 3 items on it. And usually I put one big one, which was this, and I still can't believe, you know, it's right here. Because the last 2 train sets I got for a Christmas present, because I love trains, like everybody else that's watching this video, these normally the sets I got were either from, the first one I got was from BACHMANN, at that little shunter car, diesel engine. That was like about 50 bucks. No, it's like 40 or 50 bucks Canadian at the time, back in the 80s. And then later on, going into the early years of 2000, I got another one, which was Canadian Pacific, or yeah, Canadian Pacific. Was it Canadian Pacific? It's a Canadian train set anyway, and that kind of theme. And it was like, you know, another $40, $50 train set. Of course, those ones there, you know, I needed the track extensions, and you know, wouldn't mind a high rolling stock. And for $50, that's a good deal. Now, whereas this, you have the 242. No, maybe I got that wrong. It's 482. That's right. You got to count both sides, both wheels. Shows how rusty I've gotten. Yeah, but this locomotive alone you can buy separately, and it's about, in Canadian dollars, just over 300 bucks Canadian. So they get a whole set with cars and track and a new modernized transformer pack, which I kind of need, because my modern one I have is this little black one. I think it was either from Lifelike Trains or Model Power. I can't remember what that set was from. I think it was Lifelike Trains, which I still have, and all the track. And outside of the track is clean, but the rest of the track I'm going to do a video at some point. When we get to that point, clean up that track. So anyway, I'm going to open up the set, inspect everything, because this was in a big box from Amazon, and they just put somebody just pulled up some paper, put it on top. There wasn't a whole lot of it, which makes no sense. Why would you have a box this tall to put a set in like that unless there was no other options? But the problem is, this was at the bottom of the box, face down, and the guy was in that day. I heard a car pull and drive off, but I was still passed out from my back shift, and I was sitting on the deck freezing all day till I went to work, and until I got home, and yeah, so I got that backwards. I was at work, got home, and this was face down. So that's interesting. Any rate, that's the problem with Canada is, you know, we're not winter 24/7 up here. We're not an Arctic tundra, but we do get cold winters. And I'm in the Atlantic time zone, but where I live, there's not much snow on the ground. I got green grass in my backyard with some tint of yellow. Anyway, I'm gonna open this up and inspect all the stuff, make sure nothing's broken or shrunk and snapped from the cold. But yeah, this locomotive on its own is $300. And to get all this for $300 some Canadian, it's a good deal. So I must thank my parents. Thank you very much for getting me this. This will probably be the last big thing I ever asked for Christmas. Well, I shouldn't say that, I'll probably forget. Now, I understand, I've read reviews from people and stuff, and some liked it, some hated it, some claim it's just a toy train. Well, everything you get, whether it's prototypical enough, it's a toy train. You know? The important thing is, do you enjoy it? If you enjoy it, that's all that matters. That's all that matters. And I hope my voice is coming in better, because I'm speaking louder, and I almost wonder if I fudged up my voice on my recording device there when I was using the saw to film some stuff in there, which in the end I didn't make the video of anyway. Now, one thing on the review stated is to check the engine wheels, because some of it was kind of dry, and tender ones were kind of dry. It's like, okay, no biggie. Actually, some of the steam trains I got on their own, there's like just these little ones. It did state on the box, be sure to inspect and oil all the parts before running. Even though it says ready to run, it still stated in a separate little column, please check wheels and running parts and oil them. Now, okay, we got one of these. Now everyone can rest assured on my train set layout, I'm not going to be using the Easy Track. As convenient as Easy Track is, and what I've seen of it, despite it being costing a little more than your regular Passion Atlas track and all that, to take apart and put back down. So if I ever get married and have my own kids, I'm definitely going to get the kid Easy Track, because when I was a kid, I was ripping up my track and retacking it down and doing new designs on the 4x8 sheet of plywood table my father made for me. So, okay, these are in sections. So what are these little black tangs, I wonder? It'd be nice if we had like a little manual or something here. Okay, this must be the Easy Track. Yeah. Alright, so we're going to cut this open. There we go. That should, unless it's, oh dear. And yes, pardon the mess if you see it in the background. It's I'm still doing home renovations. Just set that aside. And even though I got sawdust in the other room, can you believe that? It just gets everywhere. And like I thought, there's tape on this side. Okay. Now, will this pull out? There we go. Actually, maybe it'd be easier if I took this one out as well. Come on now. Ooh. So locomotive and tender come in a styrofoam packed unit. Good to know. Outside. The rest of the rail cars. I'm kind of disappointed. They should have added in one more rail car, because that's just blank. Notice the freight car wheels and axles are adjusted for maximum free rolling, occasionally rough and handling and shipping. Collectibles to pop out of the side frames of the cars. Those can be easily replaced by spreading it. Alright, typical packaging, blah, 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 blah. Easy mate knuckle couplers. Wasn't there a knuckle coupler system based on that? Okay, here we go. Alrighty. So, I got the black bedding, and I think that's nickel plated. So let's get the manual out and see. Yeah, 484 steam locomotive tender, smoking headlight. That's one thing I got to do is when I go to convert this to DCC, is not just to like hooking up a DCC system. I've never done it before yet. I still got my NCE power cab and all that underneath my desk there. Where it's safe for the time being. I'm still waking up. I haven't had my breakfast yet. It's 30 minutes to lunch. I've just been usually kidding over this. Well. Alright, where was I? Yeah, when I'm going to convert this to the ECC, I want to know is I'll contact BACHMANN. What's this? Validate warranty. Well, I might want to do that. So I'm being sidetracked. So when I go to the DCC on this, I want to know is what wiring lead on the DCC would I need for the smoke box to work? Like, I don't want it to, or wire it up so it chuffs in sync. I don't really care about that because I'm pretty sure this is just a basic chuff unit. And even if there was a chuff system, would I need another chip or something? I just want to wire it so when I activate the power to it, you know, the smoke box works. So this is the smoke units, instructions, blah blah blah. Okay, that's all fine and dandy. The components are better than local. Okay. Now let's box of hazards, warnings. You know what I should do? Let's get the big box off out of here. So we got a track, got a rolling stock, and I think that was the log box. There wasn't another funk of the box. So let's go with that box. Okay, so I'm gonna get this set up. Oh, actually, before we even do that, what am I? I'm getting ahead here. I'm just too excited. Just set that there. Let's get this steam locomotive out. There's something here. Is this? What is this? What's this slot? I thought it was just like I needed a slot to stick a knife into. Oh, so that's the... I'm only pushing 34. I could add bad eye sticking on both eyes. And I wrecked most of my body. Leg, back, fingers, arm. I feel like I'm 67 and 34 years body. So, I need my glasses. Still got one good eye. Okay, that's the smoke liquid. Oh, oh, oh. Thank you, Bachmann, for making a little plastic things to grab to help pull it out. It won't break anything. There's some fine rail detail up there. So that's an oil car. All the wheels roll smoothly. Good. Whoa, yes. Well, at least we know how low my table is on this old floor. Carefully. This is a heavy unit. So the shell's plastic. It's got a lot of weight to it, though. Holy cow. Look at that. That is awesome. And it's got a power pickup. Oh no, that's just a metal piece for the back wheels. It also counts as a power pickup. I wish I had a foam cradle. That's on my to-do list. So use the foam for now. So the metal wheels in the front and the back for the leading trucks. So those all pick up power. That's all loose there. Okay, so one thing I'm going to do And I know there's supposed to be locomotive train oil and all that, but I have a nice expensive bottle of lubricating oil from Hoppers, which is a gun oil lubricant. Now, as far as I know, gun oil doesn't catch fire when you're blowing up your firing pins and all that from the explosion of the gun. And a little bit down the barrel never harmed either. And I'm just going to use a very, very finite amount. So those wheels aren't that bad. They're all free and rolling loose. But these front ones I'm actually kind of worried about because they're not concealed inside a chassis unit like this one here at the back. There's a bit of play. So I just want to carefully put her up, side. Now this is convenient. There's a couple. 1, 2. It's very fine gun oil. These front wheels, and those when they rest on the chassis. The back one's not so much in the leading truck. The front ones, on the other hand, they catch and snag. But when this thing's running, those should rest just above the local, and the main wheels should take care of it. These back ones here, we're just going to put a little drop. If the drop wants to. Okay, so we're going to plan B. I'm getting a toothpick. Feed that in. I'm not even squeezing the bottle, it's just letting the gravity do it. Get that in there. And as far as I know, gun oil doesn't really gather a whole lot of dirt or cling on the dirt. But I could be wrong because, you know, I'm outside in the weather hunting duck and goose. Yeah, that makes quite the difference. They were pretty loose before, but this really makes them smooth. Now, next thing, well, make sure I'm not breaking any details or putting pressure on the details there. You cradle it this way. Okay. Next thing I want to do is I want to. Well, that's not going to work. Tell you what, we'll come back and I'll have everything set up on the ground and ready to go. Because this will be another few minutes. Okay, so I've got the track set up, and the track is 22-inch curve radius. I read the back of it, so that's pretty nice. I did run into a couple problems with this track, though. There are some spots where it's machined, it wasn't lined up exactly properly, so I'm not going to run this train fast. I do want to break it in. Also, I'm not going to run the smoker liquid for the smoke box because after I run it around for the day, it's going to be put away for the next few days until I get the table built. Now, I am going to use this track on my layout in spots where I can use it. I mean, it's got the built-in bedding, which isn't a bad thing. One thing I noticed is these little tongue insulators. Some of them like any kit you get, they don't line up perfectly. So I had to fight with that a little bit. Also, some of the track was machined, and there's slightly small gaps. It's not on this curve. There's one on that curve there, and one on that straight piece. So you couldn't, if I was going to say, here, son or daughter, here's some snap track, knock yourself out, they would still have to use these little, I forget what they're called. Anyway, I'm going to get this controller set up, and I hope the direction is the direction I want it to be. So, track to rail. I see the wiring design never really changed from BACHMANN products over the years, just the end piece. And because my living room only has 2 outlets in the center of the place, I'll lean over here. Is our right side up? Doesn't seem to be. Just carefully. Unless it goes this way. Because that's as far as it goes. I've also closely inspected the track. And one thing I will note is if I'm adding this to my layout in the basement, I'm definitely going to drill some pilot holes and screw nail it down to the bloody board, because the plastic is great, but it's a little on the flimsy side. Power. I hope it don't fall out of the wall. It's not the greatest. And whoop. There we go. That's a really light transformer compared to the bricks I got in the box over there. Okay. I don't want this sitting exactly on the floor. There we go. Right. Let's take her for a spin. Okay, that's backwards. Well, that's slick. The light comes on based on the direction. Something sounds off the rails. Oh, it's the rear wheel trucks. Okay, let's try that now. That's definitely quieter. Now, something I noticed is the oil tender, the hookup for it in the back of the train has 2 slots. So I don't know if that 2 slots is for a different tender setup, but I put it on the closest nearest hole, because otherwise there was too much of a spatial gap. Okay, that train still isn't on there straight. Something's still not right. Kind of crooked. Ah, yes. Okay, let's try that. Oh. And on this side, the one drive wheel is off. Okay. Oh. I had a dead spot in the rail. It's just me. Does it look a little crooked on the rails still? Ow, my eye. Hit myself with the thread. And something just fell down behind me. Oh, paper roll. Okay, so that's on. That's all on. Well, I'm going to run this for a bit, and then we'll get the cars on. Okay. I'm not going to set up the cars. I'm not going to put them in particular order, but I'm going to put the box cars, grain with the grain, and maybe the log and the coal right in front of the booster or something. I don't know. But around and around the track, backwards for a bit, forwards for a little bit. So let's just get everything prepared. Now that is a smooth running BACHMANN locomotive. Now I don't know if it's because I've added a bit of gun oil to not just the trail and leading trucks, but also to the moving parts on the locomotive itself. But always read your reviews on stuff and make sure, like anything moving parts, you got to remember too, you might as well lubricate it just to be on the safe side. It never hurts. Unlike diesel locomotives where you don't need to lubricate anything unless it's got a dummy wheel set that has no power draw from it. Then you probably might want to add some there. Maybe I want the logs on the front of it, leaving behind the train. Maybe we'll see. You know what? It look better with yellow on yellow. Now I figured out what the black tabs were taped on the side of that box. They were for this flat car. Now some of them don't quite fit properly because obviously the holes bored, but I'll file them down or something later. Now then, I got my drain all set together. Let's get the locomotive on there. Let's just get out of the way for this. Now, one thing I've noticed is when I increase the power from the initial start, the front light doesn't get any brighter once you hit a certain speed. So it might be like a limited capacitor to keep it from blowing out, which is a good thing. Now, because that 484 is a heavy locomotive, the heaviest one I have, I kind of wonder if it's going to be capable of pulling 30 cars. At any rate, look at it go. Alright, everybody, enjoy, and until next time.